You are sitting alone. Your phone is in your hand. One message arrives. You almost don't open it. But you do. And nothing is ever the same again. This is my story. And I need to tell you every word of it. My name is Sara. And for most of my life I was invisible. Not the kind of invisible that people notice. Not the kind where someone says, "Oh, poor Sara." No. I was the kind of invisible where you sit in a room full of people and no one turns their head. No one calls your name. No one saves you a seat. I was 22 years old. I lived in a small apartment with white walls and one window. The window looked out at a gray building. Not a tree. Not the sky. Just gray bricks and gray windows. I worked at a small shop. I sold notebooks and pens and greeting cards. Every day, people came in and bought cards that said, "I love you," and "Happy birthday," and "Thinking of you." They bought these cards for someone else. For someone they loved. I never bought one for myself. At night I came home. I made tea. I sat by my one window. I scrolled through Facebook. Not because I was happy, but because the blue light made the room feel less empty. I had 212 Facebook friends. I knew maybe 3 of them in real life. My feed was full of other people's good news. Weddings. Babies. Vacations. Promotions. Everyone was going somewhere. Everyone was becoming something. I was just still. One Thursday night in November I was sitting in my usual spot. Tea in one hand. Phone in the other. The heater was making a clicking sound. The gray building across the street was dark. I scrolled. I scrolled. I scrolled. And then a little red number appeared on my message icon. One message. From someone named Amir Hassan. I did not know this name. I almost did not open it. Almost. I pressed the name. The message was short. Only 2 lines. It said, "Hi. I think we went to the same school a long time ago. I saw your name in a comment somewhere. I hope you don't mind me writing. You used to sit by the window in English class. I remember you." I read it 3 times. I remember you. 3 words. So small. So ordinary. But I had not heard those words, not those exact words, in a very long time. I sat with the phone in my hand. The heater was still clicking. The room was still small. The building outside was still gray. But something had shifted. Like a window had opened somewhere in a room that had been closed for years. Just a little. Just enough to feel the air. I typed back. "Yes. I think I remember you too." That was a small lie. I did not remember him at all. But I pressed send. And then I put the phone down and told myself it was nothing. Just a stranger. Just a message. Just 2 lines that meant nothing. But I picked the phone up again 7 minutes later. He had already replied. We talked every night. Not big talks. Not dramatic talks. Small ones. He asked what I did. I told him about the notebook shop. He said he loved notebooks. That he had 15 of them but had only written in 2. I laughed. A real laugh. The kind that surprises you when it comes out. I asked what he did. He said he was a teacher. Secondary school. He taught history. I said history was my worst subject in school. He said, "That's because no one told you the stories. History is just people. People making choices. Some good. Some terrible. But always people." I thought about that for a long time after. November passed. December came. We talked every day now. Morning messages. Night messages. Sometimes a voice note that he sent while walking to school. His voice a little breathless from the cold. I saved all his voice notes. I played them when the apartment felt too quiet, which was most of the time. I did not tell anyone about Amir. There was no one to tell. My mother called on Sundays. She asked if I was eating. I said yes. She said good. That was our whole conversation. My coworker Dina sometimes asked if I was okay. I always said fine, because fine was the easiest word. Fine meant don't ask more. Fine meant I am holding everything together by one very thin thread. Please don't pull it. But with Amir I was not fine. I was something else. Something warmer. Something I didn't have a name for yet. One evening just before Christmas he asked me something. He asked, "Are you happy, Sara?" I stared at the question for a long time. No one had ever asked me that. Not like that. Not directly with my name at the end, like the question was specifically for me and only me. I typed, "I don't know." He wrote back immediately, "That's an honest answer. Most people say yes, even when they're not." I wrote, "Are you happy?" There was a pause, longer than usual. Then he wrote, "I was very sad for a long time. My father died 2 years ago. And after that everything felt gray. But lately less gray. Maybe because I started talking to someone who sells notebooks." I put the phone down. My eyes were full of tears. Not the sad kind. The kind that come when something real touches you. When someone is honest about their pain and it makes you feel less alone in yours. I was crying in my small apartment, in front of my one window, looking at the gray building across the street. And for the first time in I don't know how long, I felt like someone somewhere was thinking about me. Really thinking. Not just scrolling past my name. Actually stopping. Actually staying. In January, Amir asked if we could meet. I said yes before I finished reading the whole message. Then I was terrified. I had not met anyone new in 2 years. I did not know how to do this anymore. I stood in front of my small mirror for 45 minutes. I changed my clothes 4 times. I put on lipstick and then wiped it off. I put it back on. We met at a coffee shop near the train station. It was a Saturday morning. Everything was cold and bright. I saw him before he saw me. He was taller than I expected. He was wearing a dark blue coat and he was looking at his phone. He was also nervous. I could see it, the way he kept touching his collar, the way he looked up at every person who came through the door. When he saw me, he smiled. It was not a perfect smile. His left side went up a little higher than his right. But it was the most honest smile I had ever seen. Like his whole face said, "There you are." Finally, we sat for 3 hours. We talked about everything. About the school we both went to. About his father, and how he used to bring him books from the library every Saturday. About my mother and the Sunday phone calls and how much I wished we could talk about more than food. We talked about loneliness. About how you can be lonely in a room full of people. About how silence can feel different depending on who is sitting next to you. This silence, between 2 coffees on a cold Saturday, felt warm. When we said goodbye at the station, he said, "Same time next week?" I said yes. I walked home. The sky was pale blue. A bird was sitting on a lamppost doing absolutely nothing. I looked at it for a moment and felt, for no reason and every reason, like everything was going to be okay. Spring came. Amir and I met every Saturday. Then more than Saturday. He came to the notebook shop once on a Wednesday. He bought 3 notebooks. He grinned like he had done something clever. I laughed. That real laugh again. The one that surprised me. But fear is a quiet thing. It grows while you're looking the other way. One afternoon in April, Dina at work said something small. She said, "You seem different lately. Lighter." I said nothing. But I went home and sat with that word lighter, and then I got scared. Because what if it stopped? What if Amir woke up one morning and saw who I really was, quiet and invisible and full of gray, and decided it was not worth it? I started pulling back. Slowly. Not answering as fast. Making excuses on Saturdays. Giving shorter replies. Amir noticed. He sent a message one evening. "Did I do something wrong?" I wrote back. "No." He wrote. "Then what happened?" I did not reply. He sent one more message at 11 at night. Just this. "I'm not going anywhere, Sara. But I need you to tell me what's happening. Because I'm sitting here worrying about you and I don't know what to do with that." I read it. I put the phone face down on the table. I sat in the dark for a long time. Then I picked it up and I typed the truest thing I had ever typed to another person. I wrote, I got scared. I always ruin things when they start to feel good. Because I don't know how to believe that good things stay. I pressed send before I could stop myself. His reply came 3 minutes later. Sara, good things don't always stay. That's true. Some things end. Some things hurt. But the answer is not to push them away before they can leave. The answer is to be there, fully there, for every moment they exist. I learned that when I lost my father. He's gone. But every Saturday we spent in the library together, I have all of that. Every single second. And nobody can take it from me. I don't want you to waste our Saturdays being afraid of losing them. I want you to be there. With me. Fully. That's all I'm asking. I read it once. I read it again. Then I did something I had not done in years. I called him. Not a message. An actual call. My heart was going very fast. He picked up on the second ring. I said, I'm sorry, he said. Don't be. Just be here. And I was. Summer was different that year. Everything was brighter. Not because the sun was out, though it was, but because I was paying attention. Really paying attention to the small things that I used to walk past without seeing. The smell of old books in the shop. The sound of rain on the window. The way Amir always ordered tea but always wanted a sip of my coffee. The way he listened fully, completely when I talked. Like my words mattered. Like I mattered. I called my mother one Sunday and for the first time in years, I said more than fine. I told her I had met someone. There was a long silence on the line. Then she said very quietly, tell me about him. And I did. I told her everything. About the Facebook message. About the coffee shop. About the notebooks. About the Saturday mornings and the voice notes and the way his smile went higher on the left. My mother was quiet again. Then she said, you sound like yourself. I didn't know what that meant at first. Then I did. I had been away from myself for a long time. Hiding somewhere behind the gray walls and the fine and the scrolling and the loneliness. And slowly, without even knowing it, I had found my way back. August came. And with it, a storm. Amir called me one afternoon, his voice different. Tight and quiet. He said his school had offered him a position. In another city. 2 hours away. It would start in September. I said nothing for a moment. Then I said, are you going to take it? He said, I don't know. I wanted to talk to you first. Everything in me wanted to say, don't go. Stay. Please stay. I have just found this. I have just found you. I am not ready to lose it. But I remembered what he had said in April. About being there. Fully. About not wasting the moments by being afraid of losing them. So instead I said, Amir, if this is a good thing for you, you should take it. 2 hours is not the end of the world. We will figure it out. There was a pause. Then he said very softly, I wasn't actually going to take it. I said, what? He said, I just wanted to see what you would say. I was so angry I almost threw the phone. Then I laughed. That surprised laugh. The real one. He said, you passed, by the way. I said, past what? He said, I needed to know you would choose me even if it was hard. Even if it cost you something. I needed to know you were staying because you wanted to stay. Not just because it was easy. I was quiet for a moment. Then I said, you are the most dramatic history teacher I have ever met. He laughed. A big warm laugh. The kind that filled the silence completely. It is November again. 1 year exactly since that first message. 2 lines. On a Thursday night. I am sitting in my apartment. But it does not feel the same. The walls are still white. The window still looks at the gray building. But there are now 2 cups of tea on the table. 2 notebooks open. One with his handwriting, one with mine. Amir is sitting across from me. He is reading something. He has taken his shoes off. He is completely comfortable. Like he belongs here. Like this small apartment was always waiting for him. I look at him for a moment without saying anything. He looks up, catches me. He says, "What?" I say, "Nothing. I was just thinking." He says, "About what?" I say, "About that message. 1 year ago. I almost didn't open it." He puts his book down. He looks at me in that way he has fully, completely. He says, "But you did." I say, "I did." We sit in the quiet for a moment. A good quiet. A warm quiet. The kind that doesn't need to be filled. Then he says, "You know what I was doing the night I sent that message?" I say, "What?" He says, "I was about to close Facebook. I had scrolled past your name twice. I almost didn't write. I thought you wouldn't reply. I thought it would be strange. I almost closed the app." I look at him. He smiles, that uneven smile higher on the left. He says, "But I didn't." I reach across the table and put my hand over his. No words. Just this. Just us. Just the small miracle of 2 people who almost didn't reach out, and did. I used to think that life changed in big moments. In speeches and weddings and dramatic scenes. In announcements. In crowds. In fireworks. But I was wrong. Life changes in the smallest moments. In a red notification on a Thursday night. In 2 lines from a stranger who remembered you. In an almost didn't open it. Almost didn't reply. Almost pulled away. The almosts are everywhere. They are in every moment where you almost stayed invisible. Almost stayed quiet. Almost closed the app. But sometimes, just sometimes, you don't. And everything changes. I know this now. Because he sent me 1 Facebook message. And my life changed forever. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this with one person who needs to hear it today. Because somewhere out there, someone is sitting alone with their phone in their hand, and they need to know good things can still happen. Even from 1 small message. Even from 2 lines. Even from an almost. Thank you for listening.